This is the Porsche 919 Hybrid. It's the car that marks Porsche's return to endurance motorsport and Le Mans. It's also driven by a chap called Mark Webber. You may recognise him from a lesser race series called Formula One, something about going around in circles and not being all that exciting. Anyway, the car is quite exciting. It's powered by a turbocharged 2-litre V4 motor, a pretty unusual engine if I'm honest. It's not a configuration known for being hugely reliable. Porsche's also hooking up both KERS, like what you get on an F1 car, and something called AER. Now, KERS we all know and love. It's hooked up to the car's front brakes, so every time they're applied, power is fed back into the car for a boost of energy later. Lovely. But AER, well, that's different. AER stands for Abgas-Energierückgewinnung. It's an energy recovery system that uses exhaust gases from the turbocharger to feed power into a battery for, much like KERS, more power. Hybrid cars aren't new in endurance racing. Take a look at Audi's successes with the diesel hybrid e-trons or Toyota's Hyper Prius Racer, but Porsche's been biding its time with this car. It's seen what's out there and recognised what has to be done to beat it. What's most interesting about this car though is its hybrid system, because yeah, it's becoming the norm in motorsport. But when you take a look at Porsche's road portfolio, you'll see that this has been worked on for years. Take a look at the 918 Spider, for example. Using a traditional V8, adding some KERS and a whacking great electric setup, you've got a hypercar that defies convention, as well as being pretty kick-ass. Now take a look at the Porsche Panamera SE Hybrid. Using tech that's not too far removed from the 919 Hybrid Racer, Porsche's created a 2-ton saloon that can do 62 miles an hour from rest in 5.5 seconds. Its top speed is well over 160 miles an hour, but in the UK it'll manage over 90 miles to the gallon and it'll emit only 71 grams per kilometre of carbon dioxide. Now, think about that, and think that without all the research that went into making something like this possible, pulling off something like the 919 would have been difficult, like really difficult. This is one of those instances where road and race come together for the greater good. Without one, the other would be knackered. It's great to see the 919 Hybrid in the flesh, something that's been mooted for years, something that's been slaved over to make it as perfect as it can be. This thing has a huge motorsport heritage weight on its shoulders. Cars like the 356, the 917, the 550, the 904, they all laid the stage for this thing. We're going to find out how it does later in the year.